Hey, what is up guys? My name is True Underdog, and once again we have another how to play video featuring my girl Jackie. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I should mention this is dull as dishwater Jackie, meaning she has no variation right now. It is her default version. So let's go ahead and put her special moves up on screen. And would you look at that, they appeared on screen just like magic. Alright, so the first attack on our list is Air Ground Smash. Now despite being an air attack, this actually hits low, which makes it very tricky after a jump-in punch. Your opponent's gonna have a pretty difficult time blocking that. Now, the default version can't be comboed after, but the enhanced version actually can. And it leads into a lot of damage. Look at that, dogs. Almost 40% for a jump-in? That is crazy. Only one bar, too. Plus, the attack is also safe on block, meaning there's no risk of actually doing it outside of being anti-aired. So certain characters like Ermac could uppercut you, but they don't really have any anti-air specific moves, so it's pretty good to use on him. Next on our list we have the Air Fake Out, which is actually not an attack at all. It's more of a way to trick your opponent into blocking. So let's say you hit him with a ground smash, then you go for a fake out, then go for a throw. I recommend doing a throw because your opponent's most likely going to be blocking at that point. So if you hit him all the time with jump-ins and a lot of air ground smashes, an air fake out's a pretty good tool, but I don't see many professional players use it. I think I've never once seen it in tournament, so I'm not sure if it's actually that useful. You're better off just going for the combo and taking the risk. Next we have Force Rush, which has a ton of range, but is super duper unsafe, and so is every other special move on this list from here on out. Now the benefit of it is it can actually combo after certain attack strings, so that's pretty good. It has a lot of range, and it doesn't really become useful though because most of these special moves do more damage. However, where it does become useful is with the enhanced version, because the enhanced version actually has armor. So let's go ahead and show that off. I'm gonna have Ermac attack me real quick. Do it, Ermac. Hurt me. And as you can see, I absorbed his attack and I did damage to him, right? I still took damage, but I was able to get up and not get comboed. So that's the benefit of that move. And what's even better is because it has such great range, it'll actually go through projectiles. So if I was way over here and Ermac threw a projectile at me, I could just fly through it and hit him, because it's very fast and has very good range. Not crazy good though. Keep in mind it does not go full screen, so you can't just use it on a whim. It's not like Johnny Cage's Shadow Kick or other characters who can punish from full screen. Jackie doesn't really have a move like that. Next we have Bionic Dash. Now this attack is also unsafe, and it's not very useful outside of the corner. However, once in the corner, it's a very good way to get damage in your combos, which I will show you now. Now the enhanced version actually does more damage and it looks really cool, but I don't recommend ever using it because it's only 16% and the next attack on our list actually does just as much by itself, and it's called Gauntlet Strike. Now this should always be your main way of ending combos because it does so much damage and it leaves your opponent at just the right distance for a mix-up. So you can hit him with an overhead, you can go for a low, all sorts of good stuff. It also carries them to the corner a little bit. So it's the best way to end your combos most of the time. And the enhanced version actually has armor. So just like before, if I have Ermac knock me down and I don't want to deal with his mix-ups, I can do the enhanced version and get out of it for free. Well, not free, I did take damage, but you get the idea. Last on our list we have Tech Shield, which actually deflects projectiles. So give me a second to program Ermac to throw projectiles at me real quick. Alrighty, here we go. So he's going to throw a projectile, and I'm going to absorb it, right? You gotta do it a bit early, but the enhanced version actually throws his projectiles back at him, which is pretty cool, especially on characters like Sub-Zero and Ermac, because you can actually get a full combo if you don't mess up like I just did. Again, you gotta do it pretty early, because it does take a while to start up. But look at that, I got a full combo on Ermac because I caused him to stun himself. And that would also happen to characters like Sub-Zero. So it's a pretty damn good weapon, especially if you're using a version of Jackie that does not have projectiles, which all of them don't. Alrighty dogs, that covers all of her special moves, so let's go ahead and get down into her variations. The first one is Shotgun, and it's my personal favorite because it does very good damage and it's very straightforward. But go ahead and give me a second to put those special moves on screen. Alrighty, and there we go. So the first attack on our list is Single Barrel. Now this does a ton of damage, and it's a great way to end combos, plus it's safe on block. So if you ever do a mix-up and you don't want to get punished for it, you can just do that, right? If I attack high or low, I can always end it with a single barrel to make sure that I'm safe. And if you're wondering what safe on block means, it means that I can do the attack, and if the opponent blocks, I will have time to block afterwards so they can't hit me with a full combo. An unsafe attack would have left me open, and I'd be eating a full combo, which is very bad against Ermac, because he does tons of damage for no meter whatsoever, especially in this variation. Now the enhanced version does more damage, but only 15%, so I don't recommend using it because again, you have Gauntlet Strike, which already does 15%. So the enhanced version ain't really worth it. Now keep in mind the attack doesn't have very good range, but it's her only projectile in this variation, so you'll have to learn to make do with it. It's about jumping distance, so about there. Next on our list we have Low Blow, which as its name suggests does hit low, and it's also a good way to extend combos at a certain distance for free. But look at that damage, dogs. Over 30% for no meter at all, and that is the beauty of this move. However, the trade-off is that it does no damage from that distance, right? About 1%. Whereas up close, it does 5%, and it is unsafe, but only by 1 frame, meaning your opponent needs to have a 6-frame attack in order to punish you, and most characters don't even have that, and even if they do, the opponent will not be able to get it off most of the time because they have to react on the very, very first frame. So it's very hard to punish. Now the enhanced version is where things get interesting, because it forces your opponent to restand, which means you can get a free combo. And when I say it stuns them, I mean that it stuns them for a very long time. So check this out. I'm just going to jump in to extend the combo, and I totally can. I have no reason to run, I have no reason to even dash. I can just jump in and get a free combo. And that was 43% for just 1 bar of meter, but that's kind of just Jacquie Briggs in a nutshell. This girl cannot sneeze without getting more than 30%. She's a freaking powerhouse. Now keep in mind the enhanced version is also barely punishable, so I recommend throwing it out, especially online. At a local tournament, you may get punished for it, but online, I really doubt guys can punish you for it. Now Jacquie Briggs also gets a unique attack string in this variation, which looks like that. And it's pretty hard to combo after outside of the corner, however you can with that one special move we showed earlier. So you can still do that, but keep in mind the opponent is now full screen away, so I gotta work my way in, and that's gonna be a real pain in the ass in this variation, because I have no way to hit him from a distance. I only have this crappy shotgun. So it's gonna be pretty hard to get in, but in the corner it becomes pretty useful. You can actually combo after it. And it's a lot of damage too, 12%, but I don't think it's really worth it only because this does 10%, right? 12% actually, that does a lot more damage anyway, so just go for that. And this does 10%, I don't see a reason to really use this attack string, but it's cool that we have it. Alrighty, let's move on to the next variation, which is going to be Full Auto. Alright, so here is the variation that everybody hates, and it's because of the projectile spam. And I don't use the word spam at all, but you will see very many other players call it spam, and for good reason. It's very good. Let's go ahead and put this attack on screen along with our other attacks. Alrighty, and there they are. So first on our list is the infamous hand cannon. This projectile hits 4 times and it hits very quickly. And it hits high, so the opponent can duck under it. However, if you enhance it by holding down the right trigger, suddenly you have a mid attack that they cannot duck. So that makes it very, very dangerous, because they have to block that last hit. And it does a pretty good amount of chip damage too, and it recovers very fast. So I can just keep doing it. And that's why people hate Jacquie. This variation is entirely the reason why people do not like Jacquie. Now that being said, it is not safe on block, so do not use it up close. That is a very big risk. It is meant to be used from a distance. And in this variation, this attack actually becomes very useful because I can put them at full screen and keep hitting them, right? If they ever do get close, I can do a short combo and then put them at full screen again and keep shooting. So it's a very, very annoying variation. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about her more humble attacks, like the low rocket. Like its name suggests, it hits low, and it's actually safe on block, so you're never actually at risk for throwing it out. It also does some pretty good combo damage in the corner, so I'm gonna go ahead and show that off right now. That's a pretty good amount of damage for no meter, right? It's a pretty crazy attack, but it's hard to combo after mid-screen. I'm pretty sure you can, but I don't recommend using it. Now the enhanced low rocket can actually be delayed and then detonated when you release the A button, right? See how we flew into the air? Which becomes very scary because I can do stuff like this. Then I can just jump in. And I got a free combo, right? The opponent didn't know where to block. I hit him low and overhead pretty quick. So if he blocked low, the overhead might have got him. If not, I was still guaranteed a combo, right? If it did hit him, full combo. So it's a pretty dangerous attack. I'm not sure if it's always worth the meter, except in the corner, because in the corner your opponent can't backdash, whereas here he actually could. So it's very deadly in the corner, and that's where I recommend using it. Next on our list we have Up Rocket, which is mainly an anti-air attack. However, if you burn the meter, it suddenly combos on opponents who are on the ground, and this suddenly becomes your main way to extend combos, for a lot of damage. It honestly becomes pretty brainless to do 43%, guys. Look at that, that was nuts. And players have told me you can actually just dash in normally. You don't even have to run cancel. Now I prefer to run cancel just because it's more guaranteed that I get in on time, but apparently you don't have to. And this attack is just as deadly in the corner, because it gives you high damaging combos. Alrighty dogs, that about wraps up this variation. So let's go ahead and move on to the high-tech variation. This variation actually gives her the highest damage, but it also requires the most forward thinking. So it requires a lot of effort. Let's go ahead and put those special moves on screen. Alrighty, so first we have Gauntlet Spark. This actually buffs the damage on Jackie's punches. Right, that's a lot more damage than that would normally do, and as is this, and you get the idea. Even things like this do more damage. Special moves and attack strings alike will suddenly do more damage. So keep that in mind. Now it is super duper unsafe, so you want to do attacks that knock the opponent down like this. That way you can power up for free. Now it can actually be charged up twice. So let's say I knock the opponent down twice, right? Maybe he just loves to block low, and I keep hitting him with overheads. Now suddenly I have a very damaging pair of fists. That was almost 30% for no effort whatsoever. And in the corner, these things become extremely deadly, but I'll show you that a little bit later because it involves learning her quick burst. But before we get there, let me just note that if you do the enhanced version, you're instantly at level 2. So you're already doing more damage. Alrighty, so next we have the quick burst. Now the quick burst is interesting because it can actually be charged up to do more damage at 3 different levels. It can also be dash canceled out of, and more importantly you can run cancel it, which allows you to extend your combos for more damage without any meter at all. So check this out. Look at that dogs, 30% for no meter whatsoever. Pretty good damage for a run cancel. That being said, it will be very tricky to do online. It's more of an offline tactic or something you would use during tournaments. Now the enhanced version of Quick Burst does a lot of damage and it hits twice, but it's only good up close. But let's say you were to enhance your attacks with the Gauntlet Spark. Now how much damage does it do? Suddenly you're doing 30% with pretty much no effort at all. And in the corner this attack becomes very deadly because once you've leveled it up, you can actually hold it down and launch the opponent. Now that's not useful at mid-screen, but in the corner it does very big damage. Check this out dogs, Jackie is a powerhouse, she's gonna do over 60%, it's nuts. Now those are what I call damaging combos, right? That was just painful to watch. Poor Ermac taking all that damage, losing all that health. It's really crazy, guys. But I'm gonna level with you, those combos are not easy at all, because you have to charge it for just the right amount of time. And that makes it very tricky. I should also mention that her attack string Warship will have different properties when you're powered up with the Gauntlet Spark. It'll bounce the opponent and allow you to continue the combo. Which is pretty nuts, especially in the corner, because you can suddenly do it back to back for a ton of damage. I mean, it even wore off dogs, and I still did 45%. If it hadn't worn off, it would have been a lot more damage. Let's go ahead and see how much damage. And that's just scratching the surface, dogs. That's almost 50% for no meter at all. And that's because I powered up to level 2, and Warship got new properties, otherwise you can't combo after it, it just causes a hard knockdown. But that is a ton of damage for no meter, dogs, and not very hard either. I have much longer and harder combos at the end of the video that will show you just how much damage that attack screen can do once you power it up with Gauntlet Spark. It's just nuts. Alrighty dogs, that covers Jacquie's variations, so let's go ahead and show you her best attack strings. Alrighty, and there we are. First off, we have Bouncing Betty. This attack is very, very fast, meaning it's your best way to punish unsafe attacks. And my favorite part about it is it actually scoots Jacquie forward, meaning her combos will almost never whiff, and that's 20% damage for a very basic punish, and if you have meter, it's an easy 35%. So it's a very, very useful attack string. The only catch is that the first hit is high, so if your opponent ducks, you won't actually hit them. Next we have Gunner, which is also plus on block, and it hits low, meaning it's a great way to check your opponent and trick them into blocking low, right? Hit them with this, then go for the overhead, just keep tricking them with it. It's a very safe way to check and make sure your opponent starts blocking low, right? Otherwise, you would get punished, so I don't recommend going into a special move right away, because like we said earlier, all of Jacquie's special moves are unsafe, so start off by just using it to check your opponent. Make sure they're not blocking low, and then start going for riskier stuff, like lows and overheads. Next we have Buck Up, which is a very fast attack string, and it knocks the opponent down for a long time, allowing you to get full screen if you're using full auto and you want to start zoning or playing keep away. That's the main reason I put it on screen. Otherwise, you're much better off just using Bouncing Betty. But if you want to knock the opponent away, it's a great strategy. You can just backdash and now you're full screen, right? So it's great for zoners, but if you want to be more aggressive like I am, you'll have no use for this move. Next we have Warship. Now you saw before that in certain variations it actually bounces the opponent for a full combo, but outside of that there's not really any reason to use it, outside of the fact that it is safe on block. In fact, it's actually +2 on block, and it hits overhead. So if your opponent likes to block low, you can hit them with it. And even better, it does not look safe, so your opponent may try to hit you with something, you can just block it, and then use Bouncing Betty to punish their attack. It's kind of a false opening, right? It looks unsafe as hell, but it's actually not. It leaves you at an advantage. So just go ahead and block afterward, and bait out your opponent's reversal. Next we have Dog Tags, which does a ton of damage, but is also super unsafe. I recommend only using it mid-combo, because mid-combo, it becomes very damaging. So say like you're using the shotgun variation, and you want to do the shotgun blast, and then you jump in, and you use it, it's a great combo extender, and it's even good for juggling the opponent in the corner, as you probably saw earlier. I can do stuff like this. Look at all that damage, dogs, for no meter at all, and that is the power of this attack in the corner. But again, I recommend only using it mid-combo. It's a very big risk at the start of a combo. Next we have Jackie's Justice, which hits low twice and makes it a great mix-up if you've tricked your opponent into blocking high all the time to avoid the overhead. Right, which is back +2. I'll put it on screen after this, but back +2 is your main overhead, so if you start mixing in your lows, your opponent suddenly has to guess, and then if they start blocking properly, just start throwing in throws. Mix them up with throws and overheads and lows. Alrighty guys, lastly I'm going to show you a few good normals. So first we have Downward Hammer, which hits overhead and can extend combos with certain special moves, as you've seen in the combos earlier. Now it's also unsafe on block, so it's a risk you have to take, right? Trick your opponent to block low with a bunch of low attacks, and then start hitting him with the overhead, right? That's the trick. My spacing was off there. My bad. Hit him with that overhead. Yeah, it's sneaky stuff, man. It's very, very fast. Next we have Roundhouse, which is not much by itself, right? Lots of damage, but you can actually cancel it into the overhead. So it's a pretty sneaky attack. Whew, it's so sneaky. I just love it. You can also go for a low by doing back +4. 4 is B or circle, depending on what controller you're currently using. It's kind of tricky to do. Yeah, there you go. You want to delay it a little bit and then go for it. Now that won't actually combo, but it's a good way to trick your opponent into blocking low, right? They're going to get hit by it and be like, oh man, I should really block low. Hit him with the overhead. Get a full combo. Now in a similar style, Hop Kick does the same thing, but it carries Jacquie a huge distance, which is why it's very good to cancel it, because suddenly you're traveling a very far distance, and you can keep the combos going, right? Which I just personally love. Oh, it's just so scary. Now keep in mind, if you have an opponent that likes to mash, they can actually hit you out of it. So the key to this attack, and all these attacks, is to trick your opponent into being very scared and to trying to block, right? Now if they have no meter, then just go for it, because they can't actually jab you out of it. It has a lot of priority. So if you knock them down, you can just go for it again. There's no real risk to doing that. But if they have meter, you better watch your back, because a full combo is definitely coming against characters like Ermac. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up the guide for Jacquie. All I have left to show you now is a bunch of combos with the annotations at the bottom of the screen. If you don't know what the numbers mean, make sure to check out the description below. And while you're down there, please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and also post a comment, tell me what you think. Maybe which characters you want to see next, all of that is good stuff. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because we have content every single week on this channel. It is never a dull moment on Underdog Gaming. Thank you so much for watching guys, make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.
Another day, another beatdown.
Jacquie wins.